Yesterday is today on KUNM's 2-week archive. Your donation makes it possible. Thank you.
The prose books have a lot to do one with the other. So he might be giving you some of that flavor of reading from the book as setup to his own songs, which are all of them coming from the same place. So it's a really, if he's going in that direction, it's really something to witness. So keep that in mind. David Berkeley, 2 spots. Check ampconcerts.org. That's happening Tuesday the 15th. He'll be stopping into our studio around then too. So I think next week we're going to have some quality time with David Berkeley after way too long. Well, it's never too long, or it's an annual thing that Colin Diles of Diles Studio brings us, the Green Chili in the Air compilation. It's one of the, at this point, I think the sturdiest and longest lasting compilation project come out of the state of New Mexico. I think possibly in any musical form at this point is Green Chili in the Air, because what we have right now is Volume 8. These are pieces that, these are collaborative pieces put together in the Diles studio, where the master producer brings in ace rappers, poets, musicians, and in a very vigorous and quick style. You'll hear how quickly some of these things happen. Put together some really interesting music, really representative, not only of this place, but of this time. And this is a very well-remembered series, so people have been waiting for it. We'll talk to Diles in just a little bit, but let's start you off with one of the cuts from Green Chili in the Air. This is Ras Elijah Tafari featuring Scarab and Alphonse White, a piece called Long Road, right here on Ear to the Ground.
I've been on this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road.
On a mission in the cold. Why they tucked away out in some bungalow. Flat rate for the one to flow. Detach your selling. They are offensive. We relentless. They defensive. We scurried along them trenches. No story ending. They trending. I see they mentioning. They sitting in and grinning while they push their own agendas in. Toss around lace frocks. They really gentlemen. They saw simpletons. Why they fraud businessmen? But it's all interesting. Slow burn. That ain't frankincense. Tears and handkerchiefs to wipe away that anguishing. Pain is the result of what you go through. How you deal with erase the lies that they told you.
I've been on this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road.
Road running on the windy road. Out of this world, we're in the world in my yacht, zigzagging to and fro. No maps or compass, I just go. I'm making my path for sure. The odds are stacked against me, but it's all I know. Longitude, latitude, move through it, fluid with gratitude. Be on a new path, a route, be cool, make do with what's handed you. No handouts, no hands on, man, handling like strong arm. Hands up, fighting for my rights and left southpaw form. The higher I get, the deeper I dream. The deeper I sleep, the higher I seem. Sleepwalk like ML King. My fire is lit. I'll march with a team. We shall overcome. I too have a dream while cruising down these lanes.
On this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road for a long time, surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road.
Shall I take the high road or follow a psycho's path? A tub full of blood, that's a psycho's bath. From washing the pain away, y'all removing the pain away. This ink is permanent, there's no washing this stain away. I'm becoming a better man. It's coming together, fam. Followed the checker rules, jumped over squares, that's a better plan. Why follow the pack? I lost the hunger for scraps. My appetite has evolved. I'm binge-eating these raps. No Google Maps. I refuse to get directions from apps that can't predict the regrets, the detours and traps. Perhaps I keep making making music. What an ultrasound. Follow my path, perfect the craft. I won't get turned
I've been
around.
on this road for a long time, yeah. Surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road for a long time, yeah. Surviving this nonsense. Still tell myself I'm gonna finish college. Seen some things turn sideways. I've been on this road.
I've kind of dialed in that whole inspiration too this year because driving around town and seeing the chili stands is kind of a reminder, you know, it's like every day, like you have to go work on that, you know, you have to get busy on that. And I think this year I procrastinated even more than I ever have.
I wouldn't say it's procrastinating because if we look at the Visceral View entertainment site, visceralview.com, it's not like you haven't been exceptionally busy.
Well, thanks. Yeah, that's true. I was trying to expand into some more facets of the industry this year, kind of like these sound packs people are selling. Mm-hmm. It's real popular. A lot of producers these days are getting into production, but they don't have a lot of sounds to work with when they open up their new beat machine or box. And a lot of times they do. They come with sounds, of course, but this industry has really expanded where people are putting together these sample packs and sounds of drum sounds or actual compositions and selling the stems of those compositions so people can go remix or use those sounds in their own production. So I've really been exploring that, and it's been fun, and it's kind of a new way to create and to put some music out. So
yeah, I think when I looked at the site, it was stems was the first thing that popped out at me. So this is like offered to the public domain. This doesn't really have your copyright on it. It just goes out there.
True, it's kind of royalty free. Mm-hmm. So if they hopefully buy it officially, then they have the rights to do it. And of course, these sounds do get passed around once people do purchase them or this and that. But which is cool with me. But so yeah, but it's also, you think of it as like one of the packs I sell for compositions. It's kind of standard to sell for like $60, $70 for a group of compositions. So I've sold a few of those packs, and it's like to do that same amount of sales with streaming these days of music takes a lot, you know. So it's kind of a cool way. It's
so
like, wow.
you've developed a new income stream out of this.
I wouldn't say it's a lot yet, but it has a lot of potential for sure. Mm-hmm. Trying to figure out the whole marketing scheme of it too, because I think that's getting it in front of more eyes and ears is the way to get some downloads. But yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, there's a lot of competition too.
And if it goes out with someone else's name on it, how do they know it's yours? I mean, is that an issue?
At this point, you'd have to kind of let that go on this side of the creation process because it's, like I said, it's royalty free. So you're trying to get that initial sale, and then if they go and hopefully they do creative stuff with it and don't just loop one of your pieces. But if they do that, that's fine too, you know. But so yeah, it's kind of a cool process of that too, like not having too much attachment to it. Mm-hmm. And I've come across a lot of musicians that are very against it because they don't want to give away their special, you know, riffs, which I respect too. But I'm like, let's just create, let's make some stuff. And
you're very, very prolific. One of the things that I noticed in the new compilation, Green Chili in the Air, is this is a compilation that usually that you created. Most everything is recorded in the Albuquerque studio you use. And you're combining local figures with people from around the world, basically. And most of them are coming in to actually record with you.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, I really want to make that a more of a point because it's fun and it's cool to have that ability to collaborate over online, but it's just so much more fun and efficient to do it in person.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm becoming more and more picky with my so when I get a poorly recorded vocal take, it's like it's hard to work with, and sometimes you can finesse them to the point where it's workable, but it's still not as ideal as doing it at, you know, where I've got things dialed in to my liking. But it's great when someone has a professional setup or is able to get professional recording, and it's kind of easy too. It's kind of exciting, you know. You get this email and then next thing you know, they've got a new contribution to this song, and it comes together in a cool way where I'm just putting it all together at the studio on my own, which is fun too. But yeah, I want to get into more just like collaborating in person, and I just feel like the vibe's more cohesive that way, you know. But obviously, when people are in these other places, it's impossible to, unless I was going there. So
right.
This year kind of did focus a little more in Albuquerque. In the past, we have had a lot more features, especially from out of the country, even, which is great. There's a couple international features this year, and just a few from afar, but some notable ones at that. So
yeah, and it's much more hip hop heavy than the previous ones.
Yeah,
I think I counted like proper songs, maybe 2, and everything else had toasting or rapping.
Cool
in it.
Yeah, it felt kind of dark to me too, which I can't really put on why or not, but it feels kind of I wouldn't call it like feel good music. Kind of introspective, and it's kind of makes you think, or introspective in a way. I don't know. It's kind of tense.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, here's an example of one of the ones that are tense. There's a piece called 21 Gun Salute. That was put together here. That was put together in your studio.
Yeah.
So you talked about the value of bringing Hakeem Bellamy or Hakeem Bey and Ross
Elijah Tafari and Ross Illy as well. Yeah.
Okay, so the 3 of them coming together into the studio, obviously they have elements that they've created outside of the room, but what happens when they got together? How did that particular one come together?
That one was real organic. Started with speaking of drum sample packs and loops. I purchased them from time to time too, you know, to gain inspiration and new sounds to work with. And one of the popular things throughout hip-hop history has been taking breaks, you know, drum breaks from records. With some people that aren't familiar with that, is when it's actually just soloed down to just a drummer playing in a song. And so people are able to take that piece and then incorporate that into whether they're taking pieces of it and kicks and snares of that drum piece, or using the loop itself and then creating from that.
21 guns alone, gonna get your own for those who live faithfully and true. 21 guns alone, love is bulletproof. Trot lions, stay up alone. 21 guns alone, hold on to your roads. Don't let Babylon follow. 21 guns alone, children on the fruit, and them are on the proof. Live them straight forth, reach out to the kingdom, creation. Love and go towards each hour. You and charm, generation. Think we are the dawning on the age of liberation. Ending the strife from unnecessary separation. Who will be victorious no matter this speculation? Organization and job people is our emancipation.
We say that black don't crack, yeah, the sweeter the juice. I spit that segregated water at the fountain of youth. They say the good die young, put your Benjamin Buttons. That's why we ain't afraid to die like we 100 and something. Live by the gun, leave a pretty corpse. Somebody's son or daughter on the court. You gotta holler at the people and the people holler back.
21 guns alone, gonna get your own for those who live faithfully and true. 21 guns alone, love is bulletproof. Trot lions, stay up alone. 21 guns alone, hold on to your roads. Don't let Babylon follow. 21 guns alone, children on the fruit, and them are on the proof.
Actually, to change the conditions that destroy life, and that is our life's work.
Yeah. Destroy to rebuild, 21 gun salute. Cops aim and they shoot to kill. Watch who they recruit, time to lace them boots. It's a war outside and they hunting you. This ain't nothing new. Someone lead with that lead like the number 2. History's already written, but they shun the truth. So who is it to believe that they want a truce? No peace in the Middle East, but we funding you. The conditions are stricter for 2 to 1. Families get ripped apart, lose their sons. Fathers left in prisons, mothers stripping for funds. It's a vicious cycle, but a change gotta come. Bob said you gotta stand up for your right. If you ain't willing, then the plans ain't going right. Your life's work is worth more than a nice merch. Value life and everything that your eyes search.
We were just intensify the struggle and make the people aware that it's their power that makes the change in the course of history and the conditions under which we live.
Did you resolve to get rid of that ride that isn't worth fixing anymore? Well, that's one New Year's resolution that's easy to keep. Just call 888-KUNM-CAR. We'll tow it, sell it, and send you a tax receipt. Plus, you'll get a KUNM membership. That's one resolution down. Donate it online at KUNM.org. Under the support menu, select Donate Your Vehicle. Or just call 888-KUNM-CAR. That's 888-586-6227.
Got some custom drum loops that people these days are doing. And I forget the name of this particular one. The song actually was started from a simple drum loop like that. And we were all in the studio. Actually, it started with just Elijah and Hakeem that night. Mm-hmm. And I forget, we were there recording for Elijah's album. We have a new album together coming up too.
Oh, okay.
So this kind of was like a throwaway track at the end of the session. Like, let's just put something together, see what comes about, right? And so I think the beat was probably created in 10 minutes, no joke, 15 minutes at the most. And Elijah came up with that hook, 21 gun salute. Mm-hmm. Hakeem was rushed. Of course, he had some other engagement like he usually does, right? So he was even feeling bad because his part was only 8 bars, and he kept wanting to come in and get some more in on it. But by the end, he was happy that it was pretty short and sweet and short. So anyway, Hakeem wrote his part real fast after Elijah laid the hook and was out the door. And then Elijah did his first verse. Uh-huh. And Illy was an addition later, probably a month later or so. I thought of him, and it's like, oh, he'd be a good one on that.
And it all sounds spontaneous. It really sounds like you talked about studio energy as being different from digital energy, and you can feel that. Well, now that you're eight years into this project, and this is happening while you are releasing other works and doing small projects and full-length projects with various artists. Are you able to look back on 8 years? I mean, you said this one feels very dark. Are you able to look back and sort of see different moods and different... I know you can hear different technology. You talked about that last time. But things beyond just the technology?
Absolutely, and it is kind of like a soundtrack to my own life in a way, but it feels like it captures just that period of time every year, and so it's cool to have consistency with it. Like I said, I look back at a lot of old stuff and I cringe. Mm-hmm. I recently just took down like 5 albums off of digital distribution. I probably won't ever do that with Green Chili in the Air, but yeah, I was like, I just felt stuff that was released 8 years ago and things like that just really didn't feel like it was representing what I can do now. So, but I think that's kind of what's special about this project is that it does have that kind of like time captured in an essence, and the fact that it's made in such a short period of time every year and inspired by New Mexico and this, how the fall is so special in New Mexico. I really was feeling it this year. I was like, no matter what, I always want to come back during this time and be here for this, no matter what. Like, I just love that time of the year. And so, yeah, I think it has to do with everyone else, what everyone else is going through too, and what's happening in the world and things like that. And people are able to put that down on wax. So,
what about the sort of the role you have? Because it's not like, we have some extraordinary producers in this state, and much of the time what they've described they do is that they take the artist and they polish the artist. They're bringing what's inside the artist out, but generally they're not like, it seems like your process is more deeply collaborative because of where these tracks start is like your lyricist may come in, but you have the bed there. So what is the give and take in most of the dynamics going on in Green Chili in the Air in these things from if someone were just to hire you and say, produce me?
Right. Well, I think, gosh, like my I put everything into it, like I really do. My heart and soul goes into this for just months at a time. I just like my mind never stops. So I'm just manifesting it like crazy, and especially when it's at a point when I don't feel like I can do it. That's when I have to click that on and be like, okay, you got to make it happen. And so there's that element of just have that push, and my love for music I think comes through with it. But I try to not ever look at it like I'm maybe polishing anyone. I look at it just creating a space and making we have to respect all songwriters for that purpose. Without the songwriters and the creators, that creates the whole process. So I just respect the craft in that, and just try to create, and have options. And then I'm lucky enough to have brilliant people willing to work with me and around. And it is deeply collaborative because a lot of them really are like family. And so we have this thing that's like, it's not just for this project. A lot of these songs do feature on other projects too. Sometimes From Green Chili in the Air have been like singles that feature on other albums that we're doing. So it's, I just feel really lucky, and I'm grateful to have the ability to do this, first of all, and be around this technology and making music. It's really special. So,
what about Laura Cruz? She's someone who I did not know until the last compilation came out, and what she was doing there was really striking. And because she's a singer,
right,
it's sort of in a different place from most of the other cuts here.
Yo, quieren caman, güey. Cuando me vaya no sabré a dónde iré. Cuando regrese estaré tan lejos ya que olvidaré. Y si mañana no entiendo lo que me dijiste ayer, pues no pasa nada porque al final aquí seguiré. Cuando vengo, cuando voy, cuando llego, cuando sigo, cuando río, cuando grito, cuando me tiro en el piso, cuando camino, cuando salto, cuando te miro a los ojos, cuando me paro a preguntarme cuántas veces pasará lo mismo, pasará lo mismo. Cuando me vaya no sabré a dónde iré. Cuando regrese estaré tan lejos ya que me olvidaré. Y si mañana no entiendo lo que me dijiste ayer, pues no pasa nada porque al final aquí seguiré. Es que no hay fronteras en la mente tuya. Ojalá que fluya como los mil vientos de mi conocimiento. Cuando vengo, cuando voy, cuando llego, cuando sigo, cuando río, cuando grito, cuando me tiro en el piso, cuando camino, cuando salto, cuando te miro a los ojos, cuando me paro a preguntarme cuántas veces pasará lo mismo, pasará lo mismo. Mañana
Santa Terra Mega has I think an EP they cut.
A long time ago.
Yes, and other than that, she hasn't recorded much, but she's such a great performer. And, you know, the goal in the studio is to try to catch good performances, great performances, and she can do that, like, in her sleep. So I really hope to work more with her, too, because even this beat that we did for this project is cool, but I can hear her on so many other things and more melodic, you know. It's kind of dark, but she was able to, it caught her somehow, too. It inspired her to do what she did on it, but I just can't wait to hear her on more stuff. Yeah, she's amazing.
So in her case, once again, this was a case of the artist comes in, the beat comes from you, which is almost like for a songwriter like the prompt, and then she creates the song using that as her launching pad.
That with her, it's always been organic in the studio and auditioning different stuff, with the intent of if we don't find anything, we'll just create something on the spot. And that came up, and she liked it, and just sat down and wrote. Once again, took her probably 15, 20 minutes, even though she tells herself that she kind of struggles with that process, and all artists do, I think. It's almost like procrastination, but once they do, it's always brilliant. And so I guess that's one thing, going back to where I play in, is just kind of the push on people sometimes, too, is just motivating them or inspiring them to give it a chance or just to try something. And luckily, she's willing to try, you know, and she gets in the booth, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
When will this be officially dropping? We're able to do some sneak previews tonight, but this is gonna be widely available through your website. How soon?
Yeah, January 18th, so Friday. And my website, visceralview.com, VISCERALVIEW.com, and also all the normal streaming places, Apple Music and Spotify and all those places too. So.
Last time I remember we closed with, well, when do people get to see you on a stage or in a booth where we can see you and sort of get a look at what you do? Is that still a rarity these days? Pretty
much. I have to come to the studio. Yeah. No, I keep saying I want to do that more and more. And once again, this year is that's on my list. But I'm such a studio rat that I ended up just being in the studio like crazy. And we'll see. Hopefully this year changes a little more. I have some new plans, some dreams. You know, I think I've accomplished far more than I ever set out to do with music. And so now I'm kind of manifesting new dreams and some new goals. So I'm kind of in a transformation period now of thinking of some next steps, you know.
Can you give us any hints?
I don't want to speak on it too much just because I'm still in that process of putting it together myself, you know. But definitely want to just keep building with the community here in Albuquerque, do more, because I'm always inspired by the beauty here, but I'm also inspired by the pain that I see all over, and I want to help. So there's just some things that I want to do here. So. That doesn't involve music, I'd say. You know, I need to think further than that. So, speaking of Earthships too, with you before that, I've got just some sustainable things in the world that I want to pursue and do some research on. So.
Fui tarde a la ciudad en el tren de las 3. Es bueno que despierte temprano otra vez.
And that is our conversation with Diles, Colin Diles, of Green Chili in the Air. Green Chili in the Air, Volume 8 has just dropped. In the background, you're hearing Karen Kamanwe and Costumbres, one of her pieces. 11 different tracks, 11 different artists in collaboration, actually closer to 16 different artists throwing into this project with Diles. Remember, visceralview.com is where you can go to find out about the Green Chili series, about the other projects that he is producing. Also, if you were sort of perked up by his talk of selling stems, musical stems, for whatever use you please, take a look at visceralview.com as well for that. That just about does it. Hoping to return next week. Brand new visit with Santa Fe's own David Berkeley. We'll leave you with this cut, Costumbres, off of Green Chili in the Air, Volume 8. Stay tuned for Route 66 coming up shortly.
Eso es parte de la vida, enamorarse, sonreírse, llegar al problema tarde, resolverlo, arrepentirse, cerrarme, abrirme, en malas vasijas sé divertirme, comprenderte, no comprender que perderte me revuelve el estómago al verte. Eso fálicamente, con costumbres canadienses, frías, hermosas, alegres, esquimales pa' perderme. Fálicamente, con costumbres canadienses, frías, hermosas, alegres, esquimales pa' perderme.
Support provided by Field and Frame, a film and video production and rental facility in Nob Hill since 1990, supporting independent film with equipment rentals and sales, plus transfers of old home movies. Staying focused at fieldandframe.com.
This is 89.9 KUNM and KUNM-HD Albuquerque, Santa Fe, a public service of the University of New Mexico. Also broadcasting on KRRT 90.9 Arroyo Seco, Taos, KRRE 91.9 Las Vegas, KRAR 91.9 Española, and KBOM 88.7 Socorro. Music playlist, live streaming, and more online at kunm.org.